As complex and as sensitive as things are in Kenya right now, something else has suddenly been thrown into the works, like a spanner, has been thrown into the works. And this is, of course, the ICC cases. Now, the ICC cases have landed back into the doorstep of the country called Kenya in a rather dramatic manner. Okay? What has happened is that some investigative journalists in Europe, mostly in Germany, managed to get leaked documents from the ICC, and working with some investigators, they managed to piece together evidence against Luis Moreno Ocampo, who is a former prosecutor of the ICC. Now, it is extremely damning evidence, and even as the current ICC prosecutor Fatwa Bensouda puts together a team already, in fact she has already put together a team which is investigating the rather dramatic claims, it is easy to predict where this investigation is going to end. You see, the German weekly which started this whole thing, Der Spiegel, has got a history of being very thorough, and has got a reputation spanning decades that it has to protect. Therefore, you can be sure that the information that they've come out with initially is spot on. But then we all know one of the most difficult people to prosecute is a lawyer. And of course, it might be difficult to prosecute Bwana Ocampo. But that does not really matter, okay, as far as Kenya is concerned. What really matters are the implications, the repercussions, and the consequences of this latest development. And that's what I'm going to dwell on in this recording. One of the major facts, or one of the major factors that definitely is going to boomerang back on Kenya and come back to haunt us is the fact that the Kenyan cases left a very bitter taste in the mouth of the ICC. Yes, and why? Maybe we need to answer that question. Well, if I can remind you, the cases ended in a very bad way, because despite the effort, despite the gathering of evidence, it all ended in naught. Nobody was prosecuted. Okay? And the sad thing about this is that ultimately, in the end, there was no justice for the victims of the 2007-2008 post-election violence in Kenya. Now, there are just many Kenyans who refer very casually to the post-election violence of 2008, and very few actually witnessed, or very few appreciated, what really went down, and the impact it had on very many lives. The image that has refused to leave my mind about those many terrible things happened, many very terrible things happened. But the particular image that has refused to leave my mind is that of a child, not older than 3-4-year-old child, crying on the crib, because the mother couldn't get up. And the reason why the mother couldn't get up is because she had been bludgeoned to death, and she was lying in a pool of blood on the floor. The very sad thing about this is that this was an ordinary Kenyan trying to eke out a living, trying to eke out a life for herself and her child, and her life was ended so cruel, in such a cruel, violent manner. Surely she did not deserve this. And that's why I must add that it was rather predictable, or it is rather predictable that in the end, no matter how many years it takes, there has to be a way where justice will be served to the victims. This woman, the orphaned child, I don't know what happened to that child, justice has to be served to her and the many victims of the 2008 post-election violence. And indeed, it's very interesting that out of a chain of events, this whole thing about the ICC cases has come back to the doorstep of the country. It has boomeranged back. Just when we thought that it was a closed chapter for Kenya, that the ICC cases are all over and done with, they have just come back to our doorstep. Okay? Now we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, I'll explain to you exactly where they've come back to our doorstep and what we should expect in the coming days, weeks, and months. Yeah, I'll be back in just a bit. Oops, we interrupt this Kumekucha video for a brief message of interest. I'm really excited today to announce this golden new opportunity for you to reach a huge audience in Kenya and all over the world with the brief commercials for your business. They will of course interrupt our videos just like this message you're taking in. And like the Kumekucha videos, they'll be permanent. And what is more, we are so committed to ensuring that you get the results you desire that will allow you to place the spot for free. Yep, you will not pay for it. Yeah, you'll only pay for it when you're fully satisfied with the results. Of course, you'll request a small fee for the video production, but it's a pittance. This is a golden opportunity for you, and I recommend that you take it on immediately. Get all the details you require in the video description area on this video on YouTube. Thanks so much for listening to me. All for a better Kenya. Now let us get back to your Kumekucha video. Welcome back. Now, one of the immediate consequences of the developments at the ICC, the International Criminal Courts at The Hague, is the fact that newspapers across the world, media houses across the world, have had headlines and opinion pieces and discussions about Kenya. Okay, this has come back because one of the revelations about the former ICC chief prosecutor, Bwana Moreno, that is going to be interrogated, is how he handled the Kenyan cases. Okay, according to the evidence collected and published in the German weekly Der Spiegel, it seems that the former prosecutor of the ICC played a very major role in enabling a major suspect. Okay, the suspect is not named, in enabling one of the major suspects, yeah, in those ICC cases to walk, yeah, as the Americans would put it, or to go scot-free. Yeah, and this is despite the fact that ordinarily there was enough evidence, there was sufficient evidence for the case to proceed and even maybe succeed in a prosecution. Now, fascinatingly, the same investigations also claim that the former ICC prosecutor, Bwana Luis Campo Moreno, was able to receive a bribe, or was able to receive some money from somebody who was in the crosshairs of the ICC cases, yeah, after he left his time, after he finished his term at the ICC. Now, of course, one of the questions that will immediately be raised from this is where else would there be allegations of the former ICC prosecutor collecting bribes? Okay, this will be the major question. Now, the legal consequences aside, that is what's going to happen legally after Fatwa Bensouda's investigation is over, leaving the legal implications and consequences aside, there's the political. Because the truth is, politics always drives these legal processes, especially at such a high level as the ICC. Yeah, you cannot escape politics. And what must be of great concern to the current government in Kenya is how this will affect the international community, the international partners of the current government, in how they view the government. Yes, and especially how they view the government in terms of especially after the recently controversial general elections, where the Supreme Court nullified the elections. And the reason why they nullified the elections, as we all know, was because there were illegalities involved. Yeah, the law was broken. Okay, so these factors put together could bring a big change in how the international community, especially the major countries, the superpowers like the United States, yeah, and other big countries or major partners of Kenya like Great Britain, Germany, and so on and so forth, how they view the government in Kenya, and how they're most likely to treat this government going forward. That's assuming they win the presidential rerun scheduled on the 26th. Folks, you can be sure that there's some people who are not sleeping well at night, yeah? And even through this weekend, there are definitely some people who are not going to have a nice weekend as a result of this major development at the ICC. To make matters worse, in terms of the image of the current government, the truth is that our record in terms of human rights, is not very good, or has not been very good for the last few weeks and months. Our police force especially has come under a lot of fire in the way they have treated demonstrators, yes, in the way they have treated even peaceful demonstrators who are in their houses, breaking into people's houses and beating up people and so on and so forth, yes. This definitely, when it is put against what is unfolding at the ICC, really puts the Kenyan government on the spot. Now, in part 2 of this recording, we'll try and examine the repercussions, because this incident happened roughly 48 hours from the time I'm making this recording. That's when this news first broke. We shall take a closer look at the repercussions, because already there are consequences. Already we have seen the government react and act in certain ways that would suggest that what they're doing is has a connection to what has happened at the ICC. So make sure you don't miss that. Okay, you know the drill. Look out for the link on your top left hand corner of the screen. Click on it, and within no time you will be in the second part of this recording. See you there in a bit. My name is Kumekucha.